Indonesian Tzu Chi volunteers went to Tangerang to care for the flood-affected residents. The monthly cancer support group in Kuala Lumpur and Selangor chapter helps cancer patients find their inner peace. Welcome to Diet Headlines. I'm Simon Gan. Thank you for joining us. In Indonesia, it rained heavily in February, flooding parts of Jakarta. Tzu Chi volunteers went to Tangerang to care for the affected residents. They've also distributed aid supplies to 280 households. Let's take a look.
Overnight, water has formed a pond in front of people's houses.
Dari sisi ketinggian banjir kemarin kita sampai sekitar 80 sentian ya.
The flood water was as high as 80 centimeters. Since there's only one pump on the 22nd Street, we can only wait for the water to slowly recede. After flooding from Monday to Thursday, the flood water gradually receded.
Lama dari terjadi banjir pada saat hari Senin yang lalu baru surut itu kisaran hari Rabu atau hari Kamis.
Fortunately, the neighbors help each other. The families who live on higher grounds become the support of affected neighbors.
Ini sakit panas. Udah sakit panas, saya juga masih sakit kan kemarin itu udah banjir ya.
When it flooded, my child had a fever and coughs. He caught a cold and had diarrhea. I had to bring him and cross the flood water to seek medical attention at a nearby clinic.
Soalnya kan di sini ada dokter ke sini, cuma saya gak keburu. Jadi nunggu ini kan panas banget ya badannya, makanya dibawa ke sana.
Karena kondisi udah tidak memungkinkan, akhirnya kita barang angkatin keluar.
Since my house was flooded, we moved all the belongings to the house of the community chief. I could still go to work, but could only change into my uniform after arriving at the office.
Jadi udah nyampe tempat baru ganti seragam. Jadi nyampe kerja aja basah-basahan.
Indonesia's Tzu Chi volunteers visited 280 families and distributed aid supplies at a nearby mosque. The aid supplies include buckets, blankets, towels, floor cleanser, toiletry, and sarongs, which are needed for cleaning up people's houses.
In different cities in China, people are returning to work. In Zhuhai, Guangdong, to prevent the spread of COVID-19, people need to measure their temperatures before entering communities. However, in some old communities, the residential community has asked Tzu Chi volunteers to help measure people's temperature. The volunteers also seize the opportunity to promote vegetarianism.
In Zhuhai, which is under close management, residents have to measure their temperatures before entering the community. In Cuixiang community, which does not have security guards, the local residential committee asks Tzu Chi volunteers to help measure people's temperature.
The epidemic was caused by people eating wild animals. Look, adapting a vegetarian diet is good for the environment and body. Most importantly, sometimes we hear people say they free animals. By not eating animals, we are respecting life, and this is another kind of freeing animals.
As the volunteers measure the residents' temperatures, they also seize the opportunity to promote vegetarianism.
初一15吃素哈，
就是有时候3天5天的我也会。对啊，有没有试过试一下就尝试一下，再增加一些？可以，都会的。对啊，
Sometimes I feel that standing is tiring. As I promote vegetarianism, the residents might not respond. However, the government has already spent $14 billion to fight the epidemic. I think if I can persuade more people to go meatless and reduce their desires, maybe there would not be an epidemic.
The volunteers have been measuring the residents' temperature for more than 2 weeks, and there have been more people who are willing to go meatless. The volunteers feel that their efforts have been worthwhile.
In the aftermath of the closing off of Wuhan, love has not ceased to pour into the region. Local volunteers continue to think of ways to show their support for the medical staff on the front lines. Last month, they began providing vegetarian meals, and more recently, rice and vegetables were donated to continue this meal program.
The rice milling machine runs continuously to finish 4,000 kilograms of rice in support of the medical staff in Wuhan. This amount is the kind donation of Yichang Tzu Chi volunteer Wang Dairong. The rice is grown on his own organic field.
Large rice companies are not open, so they can only go to smaller rice companies to do this. They need to move the finished rice themselves. Volunteer Wang Dairong and brother Du are doing this on their own.
Of course, one must ask friends to contribute when doing good deeds. Thanks to Wang's connections, a few of his good friends joined the donation and gave 2,500 kilograms worth of vegetables.
I think you have gathered the wisdom and compassion of the Dharma family in Yichang. It's so good for everyone.
Using up every inch of the space in the vehicle, once it arrived in Wuhan, the vegetarian restaurants, which are receiving these produce items, quickly comes by to pick up their share.
They love the rice. Their rice supply drains pretty quickly, and although side dishes might be simple, there's still something available, right? The vegetables we had was a bonus that really surprised them.
With these food ingredients, it has helped provide a more plentiful lunch for those on the front lines of medical defense.
We're paying more detailed attention to how to pair up vegetarian meals to make this lunchbox more colorful. We made sure to include fresh produce items. Yesterday, we received a shipment of fresh vegetables from Yichang. It was freshly picked.
Xiamen Tzu Chi volunteers have gathered 9,000 pieces of protective clothing and asked a cargo shipment company to deliver them to hospitals in Wuhan. Before the drivers took off, the volunteers brought thermal cups and prepared instant noodles for them, so the drivers would not go hungry along this journey.
Tzu Chi volunteers take out boxes of protective clothing from the shipping company. About 9,000 protective clothes will be transported from Xiamen to Wuhan. The shipping company staff also helped with the repackaging.
During the epidemic period, it's better we have less people. But someone has to do the job. I should sacrifice a little. I do not think it's a big deal, but I do not know how other people think.
Two young drivers also helped the volunteers load the supplies onto the truck. Since the epidemic outbreak, they're driving to the epidemic area to deliver supplies for the first time.
If we do not go there or they do not go there, who will deliver the supplies to them? The medical professionals are saving patients on the front lines. We also want to support them. We can deliver the supplies quickly so they can help cure the patients.
As the volunteers busily pack the supplies, other people are preparing some items so that the two drivers will not go hungry during the long journey.
We prepared thermal cups so they can bring hot water to cook instant noodle along the way. On this trip, they might not stop in the middle because of the epidemic. These supplies are badly needed. We really appreciate these driver bodhisattvas.
We have prepared our instant noodles so that you can eat them along the way. There is also hot water. We have got a Jinsen aphorism. Every bit of effort becomes the fruit we reap. We reap what we sow.
The drivers embark on a journey to deliver the aid supplies, which will be used by 9 hospitals in Wuhan.
As the epidemic continues to spread, many people are afraid of getting infections when going out to exercise. Hence, the customer flow in the gym is scattered. Rehabilitation doctors suggest people to try to do medium-intensity exercise at home in hopes to enhance physical fitness to resist virus attacks.
Before entering the fitness center, people are required to measure the body temperature and then sanitize their hands.
I struggled a bit. This is actually an enclosed environment. I'm not sure if it's safe, but we all have our masks on.
The yoga mats are cleaned frequently, so I think it should be okay.
Affected by the epidemic, customers are coming in sporadically.
Many people will come at off-peak time in the afternoon or in the morning trying to avoid crowds.
The epidemic prevention is strengthened in fitness center, while for the people who are used to doing exercise in the park, keep themselves away from others. In fact, medium-intensity exercise can be easily done at home. The first move is pinwheel stretch. Steady your weight on the heel and push your hip backwards. The second move is lunge forward with one foot while your hands are crossed in front of your chest and your opposite knee touches the ground slightly. The last move is squatting with thighs parallel to the ground. Be sure to breathe normally and do not hold your breath.
Spend 3 to 5 minutes every day to do these 3 movements is more appropriate to combat foreign viruses. It is because these movements will strengthen your core muscles, enhancing your immunity.
For those who have the habit of doing exercise, once stopped for 3 or 4 weeks due to the epidemic, their heart and lung function will be affected. Then he must start from the beginning.
Start at about 60 to 70% of the original exercise amount, then add gradually after 2 to 3 days.
Do not exceed the body load. Recover the feeling gradually to avoid sports injuries.
In Malaysia, many cancer patients, their family and friends are finding their inner peace once more through the Zentangle method during the monthly cancer support group in Kuala Lumpur and Selangor chapter. There was also a cancer survivor sharing her experience in hopes to pass on her positivity to others.
Settling down their mind and finding an outlet for their stress. During the monthly meeting for Kuala Lumpur and Selangor's cancer support group, they are learning how to find their inner peace with Zentangle method.
After learning this method, I feel when I'm frustrated or nervous, I can do Zentangle to settle my heart. I think this is a good method. Thus, I wanted to share it with more people.
On the path to fighting cancer, finding their chicken soup for the soul is important. It's also how cancer survivor and Tzu Chi volunteer Liao Xiuqing has been cheering on her fellow cancer friends.
No one can see where you have gone wrong. That's how life is. It's okay to make mistakes. Just keep going. Your life can still be wonderful.
Difficulty, of course, there are, because what you want to do, you cannot achieve. But it has happened, so we must accept it. I think to open your mind and accept the truth is very important. Most of the time, people are unable to accept that fact, so they fall into a dark state.
Passing on positive vibes, the support group friends cheer each other on in hopes of strengthening confidence and determination to bravely face treatments. During the meeting, everyone also prays for the end of COVID-19 and that peace and harmony is brought to all once more.
In Liaoning, China, Tzu Chi volunteers have been providing care to a solitary care recipient, Mr. Singh, who has lost his eyesight to an auto accident. He rarely goes out and his living environment is dark and messy. When Tzu Chi volunteers visit him, they help him clean up the place and bring food for him.
如果没有人帮他，那这个冬天他可能就要冻死、饿死。这句话深深地让我们志工受到了心理的那种冲击和震动。
Every week, the volunteers visit Mr. Xing.
旁边是高楼大厦，这边这就是垃圾满地。老辛，我们进来了啊！别喝了，别喝了。
Having lost his eyesight in a car accident, Tzu Chi care recipient Xing Yuehai lives in a dark and humid space.
屋里头太潮了，你看见没？时间久了哈，这就1周多的时间，你看都长毛。这都长毛了，这都霉菌。霉菌，这头都霉菌了。赶快拿刷去吧。
Tzu Chi volunteers calmly face the garbage on the ground. While cleaning the place, the volunteers' minds have been purified.
听说你每次来给他倒那个，带一些力所能及的。你都给他收拾屋子呀，给他倒尿桶。听说大便小便都在里面。
哎，是，倒他那个得必得也倒。我们这是的愿意做的事儿，还得感谢他。
每次都拎这么远啊？每次来都是要这么做吗？ 都给他倒。
每次都一样。
Lian Hefu and his wife volunteer together, working with one mind and one heart.
After finding Tzu Chi Foundation, my husband seems to have found his calling. He is always working hard when we conduct home visitations. He is willing to do things.
Besides cleaning up the place, the volunteers have also brought food.
Usually, he relies on the help of his neighbors. He may eat a potato or yam as a meal. When he cooks, he makes enough food to last for 2 to 3 days.
When Li Xiaorou in Malaysia heard a Tima doctor explain the benefits of vegetarianism, she decided to adopt such a diet for her second pregnancy. Although she heard many opinions about her choice of keeping to a vegetarian diet, she did not give up, but instead shares how she keeps a balanced diet with a variety of vegetables in her life to maintain her health. Let's take a look.
Being 8 months pregnant, Li Xiaorou does not find it difficult to drive, go to the market, or cook meals for her child. This is her second pregnancy, but it's her first one keeping to a vegetarian diet.
Before I got pregnant, I had heard Tima's daughter Eddie talk about how meat products today are not like before, and much of the nutrients one gains from meat can be found in plant life. That's when I began thinking about adopting a vegetarian diet. I found my information online or in classes like the ones Tima has. They teach us how to find replacement nutrients. This vegetarian pregnancy, as compared to my first one where I consume meat, is much different. The doctor has not said that I lack a certain type of nutrients. I'm very healthy.
Deciding on a vegetarian pregnancy has won the support of her husband, but not everyone is respectful of her decision.
I'm in support of her choosing to have a vegetarian pregnancy because as a vegetarian, there are many different foods you can eat to maintain a balanced diet. The older generation may not understand this as much and could be opposed to it.
Some people may have the impression that vegetarians do not have enough calcium in their body to support their bones, but that's not true. There are high calcium vegetarian foods to eat which will not affect the growth of the bone structure.
Okay?
His scalp is developed. It feels like his bones are stronger.
Understanding nutritional values allows a vegetarian pregnancy to nurture the fetus into a healthy baby. These delicious-looking dishes are all vegetarian and are the work of postpartum nanny Ho Ling-ying.
Not many people do postpartum month as a vegetarian, but that's why I do it. I want to encourage more people to continue the vegetarian lifestyle. If we eat lighter meals during the postpartum month, then there aren't that many toxins to enter our body.
Being a postpartum nanny for 24 years, Ho has put much thought into the vegetarian postpartum meals.
The nanny understands the nutrients we need to gain back and will make dishes according to that. Her meals are delicious and I enjoy eating it. I look forward to eating each meal and am often full from it.
Vegetarian postpartum meals are full of nutrients as well.
Pregnant women should gain their iron from their daily food intake. They can do so by eating food which are black, such as wood ear fungus, black beans or red beans. Meanwhile, almonds, walnuts and sesame are all very good for calcium.
Keeping to one's vegetarian diet during postpartum can also help change the experience.
Last pregnancy, when I ate meat, I experienced some constipation. But this time, I'm eating vegetarian. My digestion is very smooth. I don't feel burdened by it.
There is a traditional saying that if you have a good postpartum experience, you won't have to worry for the rest of your life. Thus, by maintaining a balanced diet with vegetarian food during your postpartum month, one need not to worry about anything.
Chua Lin Ge is a 7-year-old vegetarian child. When compared with other children of the same age, she likes to eat different kinds of vegetables and always asks to be the ambassador of vegetarian food in class. She has also cultivated a compassionate mind to respect life.
Lin Ge is a single child. Her mother is a vegetarian. She also becomes a vegetarian kid.
I have watched a video called Crying Life. So I vowed to adopt vegetarian diet. From that moment, I gradually started to eat vegetarian food until now.
Lin Ge chose to adopt vegetarian diet because she can't bear killing animals. She learned to respect life from her parents' actions.
I don't like to eat meat because animals also have life. It's not the taste of rice. It's from vegetable. It smells really nice.
My daughter has a kind mind. She will feel pity for the animal if she eats them. We never asked her to go meatless with us. She did it naturally. She thought going meatless is good.
Embracing vegetarianism cultivates compassion. Lin Ge's learning ability and physical strength is not worse than others.
She completed a 100-piece world map puzzle by herself when she was 4 years old. She is patient and wouldn't give up halfway. She is relatively focused.
Lin Ge likes learning things and always wants to be the ambassador of vegetarianism.
Her classmates don't like to eat vegetables. The teacher specially arranged her to sit next to them in the same table. Then they will eat more.
Lin Ge's vegetarian diet was cultivated from a young age, with her growth process full of joy and laughter.
Tzu Chi volunteers in the UK went to the Cambridge Market Square to collect donations for those affected by the forest fire in Australia. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you and goodbye.